sir. We have Adams Hill site.
Guys, 904 Foxtrot, enter left base, runway 18, contact the tower 118.7, good day.
Alright, enter left base, runway 18 and tower 18.7. Have a good day, 904 Foxtrot.
Yeah!
Adams Tower, good morning. Skog 519 for Foxtrot on a 12-mile left base, runway 18.
194 Foxtrot, Adams Tower, runway 18, cleared land.
Alright, clear to land, runway 18, 904 Foxtrot. Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Non-Rev Stories, flight stories from a non-rev. On this episode of Non-Rev Stories, I travel to the wonderful city of Phoenix, Arizona to see some friends. Before we get into this video, let's talk about social media. Green Brothers Flying is on every main social media platform. We are on Instagram at Green Brothers Flying, on Facebook as Green Brothers Flying, and on Discord. All links will be in the description below. On today's episode of Non-Rev Stories, we fly out to Phoenix, Arizona to go see some friends. This trip was a little bit different as this was during the COVID-19 pandemic. Along with the COVID pandemic, this flight was also interesting in the fact that I had to go to my backup plan to get to Phoenix, but it worked out in the end because I got there a whole hour earlier than I had planned. The original routing was for me to go to Little Rock to Dallas, and then Dallas to Albuquerque, and then southwest from Albuquerque to Phoenix. I got to Dallas just fine, but the flights to Albuquerque ended up full, so I found an alternate way to Phoenix. Luckily, one of the flights from Dallas directly to Phoenix opened up some and decided to hop on that. Now that you guys know some basic info about this trip, let's get into it. It is Monday, June 22nd, and it is 5:30 a.m., and I just got up for my trip to Phoenix, Arizona. Upon waking up, I look outside and realize that we had some early morning rain, so I'm glad I woke up a few minutes earlier than planned so I could have time to get to the airport since I know roads will be wet and people don't know how to drive in the rain. After I got ready, I got some breakfast bars and was out the door. Since this was a 2-night trip, I had to pack more than I usually do, which wasn't a problem since I had a big bag. I got into my car and left my house at 5:45 a.m. local time for the short 1-hour drive to the airport. At 6:45 a.m. local time, I got to the airport, walked in, and went straight through security since I have TSA pre-checked. Once I got through security, I went to the gate to check in. Normally, I go to gate 1 for this flight, but since there was construction going on that side of the airport, I made my way to gate 12. Today's flight down to Dallas was operated by November 250 November in Embraer E175. My seat on this capacity filled flight was seat 8F, a window seat, and main cabin extra. The flight pushed from the gate on time, and before you knew it, we had thundered into the morning sky on the way to Dallas. Due to the current pandemic, no service was offered on this flight, but that was okay since it was a short flight. About 50 minutes later, at 9:39 a.m. local time, we landed at Dallas on runway 17 left. For those of you that fly into Dallas a lot and land on the east side then park on the west side, you know what the taxi is like. Anyways, our gate for the day was D15, an international gate. Once we parked in D-plane, I went over to the B terminal to where my Albuquerque flight was leaving out of. I got there and checked in with the gate agent just in case I had a good feeling I wouldn't get on the flight, as the flight was already full. I ended up not getting on that flight, but I always have a backup plan. Since things change hourly, if not by the minute, I looked at what time the next Dallas flight to Phoenix was, and it was at 12:30 local time. The time right now is about 10:45 a.m., so I have a little bit more than an hour for that flight. So what do? I went to the A terminal where the flight was going out of and stopped by McDonald's to get some lunch since I knew there would not be any service on this 2-hour flight westbound to Phoenix. After I got my McDonald's, I went over to my gate and checked in with the gate agent. Shortly thereafter, they called my name again and asked if I wanted a window or an aisle seat. I like both seats as they both have pros, but for this leg I chose the window. My seat assignment was 13A. Today's plane was an Airbus A321 registration November 587 Uniform Whiskey. The flight number was American Airlines 407. Boarding was quick and easy for this capacity-filled flight to Phoenix. At 12:30 p.m. local time, we pushed for the gate and taxied to runway 18 left for departure. Shortly after, We thundered into the Dallas afternoon sky and on the way to Phoenix. We cruised at an altitude of 36,000 feet or flight level 360. After a short 2 hours, we landed on runway 26 in Phoenix and taxied to the gate. Once we got to the gate, I had to wait about 5 minutes in order to get off the plane due to people not knowing how to grab their stuff and move on. Finally, I got off the plane and walked to the main part of the airport where my friend was waiting for me to pick me up from the airport. Not much really happened after that as we went to go see friends and did some marketing for his business. After that, around 6:30, we had some dinner with some friends and played apples to apples. We played that for a bit, but then it was time to head home and rest for the night. The next morning, my friend and I woke up early the next day, which was Tuesday, June 23rd. It was 7 a.m. and today was going to be a very simple and relaxing day. We had brought a one-day resort pass to a resort in the area along with two of our other friends. We picked them up from their house at 7:45 a.m. and then went over to the Hyatt and was there by 8 a.m. Since it was still early in the morning, we had the pool to ourselves, which was nice. Around 10 a.m. local time, the pool started to populate with more people, but that was expected as the high for that day topped around 111 degrees Fahrenheit. We really didn't do all of that much besides eat a very basic lunch around 11 a.m. and go down the water slide a few times and back and forth between the 10 pools. Around 5 p.m. local time, we left the resort and went over to Chili's to grab some much-needed dinner. We ate some dinner. I had some Cajun pasta, which was good. After dinner, we dropped off our two friends at their house, and my other friend and I went back to his house for the night and to get some sleep. It is Wednesday, June 24th, and sadly, it is go-home day. But it's not quite go-home time yet. I still have the whole morning with my friends, and we are going to use every minute of that time to hang out and have fun. My friend and I left his house at around 8:30 a.m. to run a few errands before we went to go pick up our other friends to get some donuts for breakfast and to just have a chill day driving around. At 9 a.m. local time, we picked up our other friends and drove to the donut shop. After spending 20 or so minutes at the donut shop talking shop and eating donuts, we headed out just to kill the last couple of hours I had in Phoenix driving around. Unfortunately, the time to go home came quickly and it was time to head to the airport. We went to the airport at 12:30 local time and I was dropped off and said goodbye to my friend. Today's flight went at the Terminal 4 South, and if you know anything about the Phoenix Airport, Terminal 4 South is where Southwest parks. Yes, I flew Southwest home as that was the only option since I had to work the next day. I got through security quickly as I had TSA pre-checked and went straight to my gate, which was C4 today. Once I found my gate, I went to the store right next to it to get a snack since it was a long flight and had limited service on it. I ended up buying some bugles and a nice and refreshing lemonade. After that, I wandered to the window to see the plane that would be taking me to Dallas Field Airport. Today's plane would be a Boeing 737-800 with split scimitars and with registration November 8540 Victor. Boarding started on time, but since Southwest is only boarding 10 people at a time due to COVID, it took a while for my boarding group to be called. Southwest also does not have assigned seats, and it's first come first serve on the seats, and all middle seats are open. I ended up sitting in 19F, a window seat again. We pushed on time at 1:45 p.m. and had a very short taxi to runway 25 right and thundered into the sky on the way to Dallas. Around Albuquerque, we hit some thunderstorms that we had to deviate around while we were cruising at flight level 390 or 39,000 feet, but it wasn't that bad. Just a few bumps. Southwest offers some of their amazing snack mix and water in flight. Around 20 minutes out, we started our descent into Dallas and landed on runway 31 left at 6 p.m. local time. We then had a short taxi to the gate, which would be gate 14. After deplaning from the Phoenix flight, I went to the store in the Dallas airport to go get another snack and another drink. My second snack was some Starburst gummies and some pink lemonade. I usually don't drink lemonade, but for some reason, it just sounded so good, so that's why I got it. Luckily enough for me, the flight to Little Rock went out of gate 12, which was right next to gate 14. the gate my Phoenix flight came in. Once I got back from my run to get my snack and drinks, they had just started boarding. For this flight, the aircraft was a Boeing 737-700 in the hard livery. Today's plane was registered November 565 Whiskey November, and I was in seat 9F, again, a window seat. Luckily enough for me, this flight only had 64 people on a 145 passenger jet, so I had my own row on this flight, which was nice. At 6:55 p.m., we pushed from the gate and taxied to runway 31 left for departure. Unfortunately, we had to pull off the taxiway into the penalty box because a maintenance issue came up. After around 20 minutes of sitting there, the pilots resolved the issue and we thundered into the evening sky. Since we were flying on the 700, we climbed straight up to 41,000 feet, flight level 410, and cruised. The views from 41,000 feet with some afternoon build-ups with the sun setting is something else. Shortly thereafter, the limited service began, and once again, we were offered some of Southwest's amazing snack mix and some water. About 25 minutes from landing, we started our descent from 41,000 feet into Little Rock National Airport. Shortly thereafter, we landed in typical Southwest fashion under runway 4 left. We had a short taxi to gate 11 and deplane. Not much happened after that, as I drove 45 minutes home, got some food, and then went to bed and slept for a long time. If you like these videos and want to see more of these types of videos about my flying adventures, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, my friend and frequent guest on my channel, Jake Youngs, is now a realtor for Keller Williams Realty in Phoenix, Arizona. If anyone you know lives out there or is thinking about moving out there, please contact him. All of his social medias will be in the description below. Until the next video, blue skies and a tailwind.